Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, a bit of a contentious topic, and that is market manipulation. And I guess it springs to mind for one reason, and that is this. The Drowzee from Scarlet and Violet base has been going absolutely gangbusters. Now, if you're new to a TCG, if you're new to Pokemon, if you're new to collecting, if you're new to investing, wherever money can be made, don't forget, people will do it. And look, when we talk about market manipulation, I think the best thing to do to start off with is give a definition of it. Of course, it's an economic term and it springs from the stock market. And, it can be used in lots of areas, though, not just the stock market. But, it's generally when an individual or a group, and there's two words that come to mind, they intentionally or deliberately try to artificially inflate or deflate the price of something. And I think it's those two words, intentional and deliberate. And generally at the end of it with the aim of profiting off it, which in the share market world isn't overly legal, is it? So what does that make it in the Pokemon card world? It can't be illegal because it's a kid's trading card game, which of course lots of adults play and collect as well. But if it's illegal here in the economic world, well, at best, it's got to be immoral in the Pokemon card world, doesn't it? So where do we see this? And that's what this whole video is about. We're going to look at some examples. I think there's a bit of a scale from natural growth through to market manipulation at the moment in this market. And, where does our moral compass sit around people that do make these plays and do the market manipulation plays? Before we get into it though, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, which is the Collector app. Now there's a new update coming for the Collector app, so if you do have the app, please update it. If you don't have it, I'll leave a link in the description to download it, and that is unstacking singles. This has been asked for by lots of people and they have listened. So you can now unstack your singles in the collection. If you don't know what the Collector app is, or you're interested in getting it, it's an awesome app. It's very easy. You can load all your singles, all your sealed product in there. It'll give you your total set value. It'll give you daily gains because prices update daily for singles and sealed product. You can see your total percentage gains across the lifetime of your investment. It's so good. If you're an investor in particular like myself, it's such an easy app to use. And again, links will be in the description to download that. Right, back onto the video. And I want to give a couple of clear examples of market manipulation and I suppose where I see it sitting from a Pokemon card perspective before we go into that scale that I was talking about. I think there are clear examples of market manipulation that can happen. And the first one is essentially when someone is intentionally trying to move the price of it. And that is literally buying out so many copies that the price moves up and then they resell it. And the best example of that is when a card's say worth $10, you buy them all out, maybe there's 10 copies at $10, pushes the price to $13. You buy all the copies at $13, pushes the price to $15. Buy all the copies there, and eventually, it's that domino effect, the snowball effect. And eventually, the price rises up to $60 a card, and then when the market gets, accepted to that new price, you then sell all your copies and make heaps of money off it. You are intentionally and deliberately trying to raise the price of a card. Now, the other side of it is, and this has been going on, I think, since the dawn of time, or since at least eBay's been in existence, is shield bidding. And that's where you get, one or two people, whether it's an alt account that you've got, like a second account, family member, friend, whatever it might be, to bid against each other to artificially pump up the price of a card. Shield bidders just need to be banned, don't they? Like, it's as simple as that. So I just wanted to say that it has been around forever. And I've even heard examples, and I remember an old TCG that I used to play, and when the World Championships were on, there's a couple of prize cards given out, and someone ended up intentionally damaging the other person's prize card. There was only like 2 or 3 in existence to, of course, deliberately raise the price of their card because theirs was now a mint copy of it. Like, these things have been going on forever. When there's a chance for people to make money, people will unfortunately be scummy, won't they? Now, look, everyone has their own moral compass on this and everyone will have their own standpoint on it. And I suppose, commentary down below, where do you see it sitting? We all know the hobby's gone absolutely gangbusters at the moment and we're seeing almost, some natural levels of growth, but also what feels like some incredibly unnatural levels of growth and then what feels like market manipulation. And it's hard to tell exactly, isn't it? But I thought I'd give a little bit of a scale and here's my take on it. So I think on the natural growth section of this scale, we see some of the trainer gallery cards, and I think the best example is the Gengar from Lost Origin. And there's plenty of reasons for that. We can go, well, I think personally this card's shown some natural growth because 1, it's a Gen 1 Pokemon, 2, it's Gengar, 3, the artwork on this card is absolutely phenomenal, 4, it's from a great set, Lost Origin, 5, it's from a fantastic era, Sword and Shield, 6, this set's likelihood of ever being reprinted is so low. Like, it's about to go out of rotation in April. And that's what generally happens. Once sets are getting older and out of rotation and people realize, you know what? There's not a great deal of this product left sealed anymore. There's not going to be too many more of these singles come on the market. It starts seeing some natural growth. We saw it during Sun and Moon. We've seen it during X and Y. We've seen it during Black and White. That's just what naturally happens. So for me, on the scale, that's got some natural growth to it. The second one, which starts feeling a little bit fishy, but I think this one more comes down to FOMO, and maybe you can create some drama around this set as well, is the Persian from Shrouded Fable. So there's examples of things that could have happened here. This card, say when it was like a $12 card, maybe there were people that, or an $18 card, whatever it was, towards the low end of its market price. Say it was an $18 card though, and people bought 10 copies of it at $18, and then the next price was $22, so people bought 10 copies at that, and then it pushes the price to $24, and they go, well, I've bought my 20 copies, I'm happy with those, I want those for my collection, because not everyone just buys one card for their collection. Some people buy multiple cards. And then we get this almost FOMO effect, or this sheep follow-on from other people, and that's what it almost feels has happened with Shrouded Fable's Persian, is that, is it manipulated, or is it just the fact that multiple people went, hold on, this is actually quite a nice artwork, and we're going to buy a few copies, and then other people do the same, and all of a sudden we go, whoa, in 3 months' time or 2 months' time, this card's gone from $18 to $60. Whoa, that's crazy. Is it market manipulation? Like, did all those people intentionally try and artificially inflate the price of that card? In my opinion, maybe not. Maybe some people did. And you can create all the rumors you want around Shrouded Fable. You could say that Shrouded Fable was that ugly duckling that just wouldn't sell, and there's plenty of stock around. And what's the best way to move stock? Well, the best way to move stock is to make the singles more expensive. What's the best way to make the singles more expensive? Well, buy them out. So, they sit at a higher price on the market, and therefore if they're sitting on a higher price on the market, people will go, oh, you know what? Shrouded Fable is actually a better set than what we thought. Don't forget, Shrouded Fable's okay. There's plenty of playability to it. The art, the illustration rares are really nice looking cards inside there. Is it a top tier Pokemon card set in my opinion? No. Is it as bad as everyone was saying? No. Does it sit somewhere in the middle? Probably yes. And, that's that controversy, isn't it? People go, well, that's the best way to move product. Now that the singles are sitting up here, people are going to, buy the product because they'll think the set's not as bad as what it was. There's plenty of controversy around it, but for me, it probably sits somewhere in the middle. It's just that Persian's got that FOMO effect that I was talking about, that snowball or domino. Where we get to the market manipulation is when we start to see huge amounts, like unrealistic amounts of sales on TCG Player, and whether it's from one individual or a group of people getting together, but like this Drowzee going up 500%, like, I get it. It's a beautiful artwork, and I've said all along, Scarlet and Violet artwork is absolutely phenomenal. I've said it from the get-go. Even though I wasn't the biggest lover of Scarlet and Violet when it first came out, because everyone still had that hangover from how good Sword and Shield was, but from day dot, I said Scarlet and Violet's artwork is phenomenal, and that Drowzee's artwork is phenomenal. It really feels like you've got a piece of art when you've got that card. It is a very, very good looking Pokemon card. Is it worth $100? I don't know. If you look at the number of sales on that though, you've got to ask yourself, man, that card has been absolutely pumped to the moon. And is it just another example of the Persian example that I gave you? Or is it actual market manipulation? And keep in mind, that's where the difference is. So the market manipulation that would come in play for that Drowzee is when people were intentionally buying them at $15 and maybe there was 20 copies gone. Bought them all $20, 40 copies, bought them all, and just bought them all until that staircase effect, that snowball effect, the domino effect comes into play when eventually that card's $100 and then they put them all back on the market, or maybe drip feed them back on the market and start selling them for $100 because the market starts to believe that that is the effective or the exact price of that card. And then they instantly make profit off it. That is essentially what market manipulation is in the Pokemon card world. Now, where does that sit with you? Everyone, like I said, has a different moral compass. And I'm not the moral police out here to say that something's right or something's wrong. Personally, my take on it, like I said before, there is some financial risk. What's to say that play is going to work? What's to say someone doesn't pump $8,000 into a particular card and it just doesn't work? It completely flops and it fails. And either they see no growth or they see a retraction in that card just because, the market's not hot on that card. And to think that someone could spend, or buy 50 copies and think that really has an impact on the market, really? There's so many copies. Even an Umbreon VMAX that has a 1 in 1600 pull rate compared to some of these, individual IRs that might only have a 1 in 300 or 1 in 400 pull rate. There's probably 500,000 copies of these cards in existence. So, I don't know, is it a bit naive of us to think that someone buying out 40 of them or 50 of them can really have that big an impact? But if someone is intentionally trying to pump up the card and successful at it, hypothetically, let's say they are successful at it, and then they instantly sell their cards for a profit, is that the right thing? Is it immoral? Probably. It's such a hard one, isn't it? Leave your comments down below. It's never a strategy I've advocated. Personally, I don't. I just buy the singles that I like and I sit them in there. I can't be bothered. It's a lot of time and effort too, isn't it? I can't be bothered buying out hundreds of copies of a card and then reselling it and going through the postage of it. Just don't have time for that working at 8 to 5:30 job. For me, I love collecting singles, and then I also love collecting sealed product, but also like investing in sealed product. Leave me your thoughts down below though. Where do you see that whole thing sitting on that grander scale? Interesting one, isn't it? I'm Michael, this is PokeOz. Catch everyone next time.